We've been waiting more than 2 years. Some of the original Indiegogo backers have been waiting more than 3. But today, here on Wi-Fi Ship at Christmas, it's finally arrived. The C64. Hi, how you doing? My name is Tom and welcome to Wi-Fi Sheep at Christmas. It's literally down there in a giant box. The C64 Maxi has arrived. Now, before we go any further, I will just point out that I'm in no way being sponsored to talk about this product. I've not been sent this product. I've had to buy it with my own money. So basically, if this thing is a letdown, I'm going to let you know that. I'm not being paid to say anything other. Saying that, I really do hope that this is going to be an alright and a good product. Because, you know, when you want something to be good and you're just like, is it? Regulars to the channel will remember when we did the C64 Mini. Originally, that was, 2 years ago now, I think. And I was a bit on the fence. Then they did the firmware update, which, okay, fair enough, did improve it. Then I had a go at running some stuff. And in the end, as you know, I got a bit fed up with it. And in the summer, I rebuilt it into my own unofficial Maxi system. Wow. Today, we've got the proper one. So I think without further ado, let's have a look and let's get into the box. But just before we do, I need to tell you about the PCBWay Big Sale. All through November and December 2019, PCBWay are offering some fantastic deals, ranging from everything from brilliant Christmas coupons, amazing offers on PCB manufacture and assembly, so there's never been a better time to get your custom PCB project underway. And that's not to mention cash rewards and electronic gifts. You'll find all the details and links in the description of this video. But don't forget to like and follow PCBWay on Twitter and Facebook for the chance to win prizes and giveaways. Check out the PCBWay Big Sale now on at www.pcbway.com. Right, let me show you the parcel that arrived from Amazon. I mean, that's a big box. And this console, or system, sorry, is not that big. Let's take a look inside. Oh, the box is a bit bigger than I don't know what I was expecting actually, but yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a reasonable sized box. I don't know, for some really strange reason, I was still expecting it to be the size of the Minis box. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Well, so far so good. I must admit, I was always impressed with the packaging. So look at that. Full-size working keyboard. The VIC-20 mode, that's something we will need to talk about, because I'm actually quite excited about that. It's on the back. And it has a picture of the unit, list of some of the games. I guess we should probably try and take the, I would say shrink wrap, it's not really shrink wrap, but the outer plastic off. Okay, so this is one of these lift-up cardboard boxes. Is there a tag on that? Yes, there's a seals on the bottom. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Where to begin, really? Let's have a look in the little side packet. So I think I've labelled with the C64 glossy box. Keep it into that. Okay. Ah, now this is supposedly the new replacement joystick, which is meant to use micro switches, and is actually meant to be a bit more stronger than the original. Oh, it's got little plastic protectors on top of the buttons as well. I wasn't a fan of the original joystick, and a lot of people weren't. The original one, actually I've got it here, which does look nigh on identical, apart from it doesn't use micro switches. So they've obviously used a lot of the same tooling, but that actually feels much better already. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what these are like. Alright, so what else have we got in the box? So this will be should be the power transformer. The first time we actually get a power supply with the system. And yep, so that is a British plug, 3-pin British plug, USB on the other end, USB cable, and a HDMI lead, which is quite nice. You don't usually get these with products, you usually have to buy them separate, so that's quite nice. Okay, that's good. And then finally, in the bottom, we've got the quick user's guide. Let's get the box out of the way. Which is sort of meant to mimic the slightly later revision Commodore 64 user's guides, what they were sort of going for. But obviously this is a full book, and this is a few pages. But at least it's nice they've actually printed something which goes through the fundamental basics of how to set up Well, it literally is a quick start guide, and most of it is actually in foreign languages, so it's only a couple of pages for English in that. This is kind of why I picked up an original Commodore 64 manual, mainly for the basic side of operating system operation, because obviously the hardware is going to differ slightly. Anyway, shall we move on? Let's have a look at the main unit itself. So we've got a nice plastic cover. The C64 is in this sort of, not quite styrofoam, it's like this sort of papery, plasticky husk. Just kept it safe. That has got some weight to it. That's actually quite heavy. Slight rattle, not sure what that's about. So let's set the box out of the way. And we'll pop this down. I think for someone who's never owned an original Commodore 64 and has got so used to the size of the mini system, this is it's strange. There was some people on the Facebook group suggesting that this was actually a little under scale compared to the actual original, and then the others were commenting saying, well, no, because the bread bin, which is what this is known as, had different sizes. So I've got a slight wobble on it. What's that about? Okay. Mine has a slight... That's a bit strange. And we have the silver badge, batch number, serial number. So 1959. We've got the power button, expanded USB on the side. A bit of a scratch there. That is strange, and I don't think it's the desk. It almost feels like it's slightly warped. Let's have a look at the keyboard then. Now this is the bit I am probably the most nervous about, What are these keys like? Now, the original had a mechanical keyboard. That's similar with the 8-bit machines of the era. I don't own a Commodore 64, never have done, so I don't have an actual real machine to compare with. The nearest I have is BBC Micros. That had a very similar key switch system, but it wouldn't be fair to compare this to a completely different computer. Let's just see what it feels like. Possibly a little bit light, but that's not bad. That's not bad at all, actually. But I am concerned about why this has got a wobble on it. I don't think it's my desk. Hang on a minute. Okay, nobody panic. It turns out my desk is actually warped. So if I come back over here, it won't sit right. But if I back over there, it will actually sit right. So yeah, it's my desk. It's not the unit. Okay, so that is fantastic. Let's just have a quick look around the unit then. So as I mentioned already, we've got 3 USB and the power here. The back of the unit, unlike the original, is actually quite plain. There's not a lot there, just your HDMI, USB power, and another USB socket. And I'm not sure if that's just wired for power or if that's actually capable of data. If it's capable of data, it's actually 4 on the system. Underneath, you've got a few vent holes and things, as per the original. But that really is about it. Power light, there we are on the top. Yeah. So I think what we need to do next is power this unit up for the first time. And I'm going to use my capture card, which will plug in via the HDMI to pass through so you can see what I see on the screen. Okay, so I think we've got the system more or less set up. Not plugged in yet. Joystick is plugged in. First time ever going to turn this on, and I've plugged it straight into my capture card. So we're going from HDMI to the capture card, then through the capture card back out for another HDMI into the TV, and then the MacBook is down here to capture the video signal that this thing generates. That's the plan. So let's plug it in. Okay, that's interesting. So it hasn't turned on. The other one used to just turn on, which I think was a fault with it. So let's see what happens if we now power up. Red light on, that's looking promising. Okay, so we've now got the language screen, which is the first thing that shows up. Again, the C64 doesn't have cursor keys, so I don't know if that... No, okay. There is a way of controlling it from the keyboard. So I've got the... Oh, there we go. Enable, yes. Okay, we're now at the boot mode screen. So this is the third of the setup screens, and it asks us if we want to boot in the carousel or classic mode. Classic mode is the new mode for this particular product, allowing it to boot straight to a basic command prompt. I'm going to say carousel just for old time's sake at the moment. Okay, and there we go. So this looks very familiar and works more or less the same as it did on the Mini. I'm just wondering that... Oh, hello. Oh, that's interesting. It's actually stretching everything to 16:9 ratio. That's interesting. Go exit game. Let's just have a look at the settings. So you've got computer model, boot mode, shut down device. So here in the computer model, we've got the PAL version of the C64, which is what I'm using because I'm obviously in the UK. We've also got VIC-20 and VIC NTSC modes. That's quite cool. Let's go back to... Oh, it's that one, isn't it? The screen. Oh, here we are. So this is the display menu. And pixel perfect means it'll stretch basically to 16:9. That's what we saw. So if we ask for European 4.3, you can do a CRT scanline sort of mode. I really don't like those, if I'm honest. Okay. Some of these, I don't know, these, I don't recognise some of these from the classic, from the mini, sorry. Some of them are the same. That one's new. It's a text adventure. This is one of my favourites. Played this game a fair bit on the BBC Micro. This is of course the original. I hope it's any better than this joystick. I do. No, I can't do this. Kind of almost have to memorise where things are. How have I crashed into that? Yeah. I've got to be honest, I think I prefer playing this on keyboard, but I'm saying that's not too bad. How do we land? Yes, I want to land. Ah! Yeah, I've got to figure that out. This controller, I will admit, is a little noisy, but it's not bad. That's new as well. That's new. I don't recognise that game. There's a few new games in here, actually. Nice to have a bit of variety. I'm just saying, because on the Mini, the basic interpreter was actually part of the carousel, but I'm not seeing it. Okay, that's interesting. So, do we have to reboot the machine then, I'm guessing? I know, I'll switch to classic mode. Okay, and there is classic mode. So, if you know your basic, let's have a look. I'll be honest with you, I wonder if there's a tiny bit of a lag. Run stop. Of course, the advantage with the keyboard now is you've actually got the proper keys to function properly with Commodore Basic. I don't know, it might just be because I'm going through a capture card and it's just putting a split-second delay on it, but I press a key and it just feels like there's just a split-second delay. It could just be me and I'll accept that, but interesting. And if we go back to, we've got the menu. Interesting how it's got media access. And there you go. And it allows you to have the disk drive, cartridge slot, and cassette deck. And that will... Okay, so you can now remotely load ROM images, disk images, cartridge images, cassette images into the slots on the system. That's quite good. Because obviously we've only got USB sticks to be able to put data into the system. Actually, that reminds me, should we have a look and see what happens if I put the USB stick that I've got from my rebuild C64 Maxi, the unofficial one. by the way, that's the size of the one I built versus the proper one. Okay, so let's try this USB stick just in one of the spare ports on the side. Okay, and then let's go back to access media. Yeah, okay. Disk image, tape image. So that's read it okay. I do remember some of these didn't work that well. And if I've selected it, you see it goes in the disk drive. So we would be able to load it up. And one assumes if we go back to options, exit the carousel mode. Yep, there's the stick. And if we try that again. I'm trying to remember if this actually worked properly on the Mini. I don't think it did. Ah, there we are. Joystick, yeah. So let's press fire button to start game. So I selected joystick. Ah, but the joystick's not responding. Oh dear. I think this is the problem we had last time. Yeah, you can see that's not responding. Obviously that's not the fault of this, because other stuff did work fine. It's obviously oh, it could be that it's the Commodore had a funny issue where it needed joysticks in certain ports, and this always emulates it in the wrong port. Now you can make an adjustment in the file in the file name. You can put an attribute in the file name, and that'll actually tell the emulator to switch ports. That's probably why this isn't working properly. So if I now say keyboard and fire, let's try that again. I knew what the keys were. What are the keys for this? Oh, hello. Right, something moved then. We now seem to be... Ah, right, hang on. So is it shift? Ah, okay. It's both shift keys. There we go. This is the first time I've actually been able to play this because of the funny keyboard setups that aren't emulated if you just plug a PC keyboard in. So actually now having a keyboard that's specially designed to mimic the original. Very fast, but... and I may be having a tiny bit of lag because of the video capture card. But I don't think it's too bad. Okay, let's back to. Let's try the VIC-20, just because I'm curious. Switch to classic mode. Oh, there you are. The VIC-20, a system I know very little about, other than it did not have the same power or performance of the C64 it coming beforehand, but used the same keyboard. So oops. Oh blimey, okay. That's gone wrong. Okay. Don't panic. It still does the whole indicator you can see for the shift lock. Yeah. And then run stops and yeah, okay. Okay, so overall, what do I think? Well, it's not bad. That's my honest truth. It's not bad. I was nervous about it. Obviously, when it started rocking on the table, I was thinking, oh God, what's wrong with this? But no, it's an improvement over the Mini is a fair assumption for this product. Now, I know a fair few of you got in touch with me when we were talking about the Mini and the Kickstarter Indiegogo for this in the first place, saying, well, they promised certain things they haven't done. That's true. It's not going to support cartridges. It's not a replacement for original hardware. It's not original hardware. It might look like original hardware, but it's an ARM chip. It's an all-winner quad-core ARM chip inside. 256 megabytes of RAM, I think, on board. And then obviously it has some space. We looked at this when we pulled apart a Mini. It's effectively the same board. There's a tweet going around at the moment online. Someone has actually torn one of these apart already, and basically there's nothing in there. It's a big empty case. That said, it does look the part. The keyboard is, yeah, I actually like the keyboard. I didn't know if I would, but yeah, the keyboard is great. The OS is better, the actual carousel system. The VIC-20 mode, I'm really looking forward to kind of fiddling around with, doing more with. The big part at the moment is obviously that I don't know how the C64 is actually meant to be operated. I don't own one, so that's why I've got the manual, so I can basically look at this, because I know there's going to be so many of you just shouting at the video going, Tom, you know, press this, press that, hold it, and I don't know that because I'm not a Commodore user. So for me, this is coming from a very interesting place, just because it's not a system I have any nostalgic value for or familiar with. But saying that, I really, really do like this, and I don't regret getting hold of one. If you bought the Mini, and a lot of you have gone, well, shall I bother upgrading? I felt the same. If you watched the previous videos when we talked about this, I was going, I don't know if I'm going to buy one or not. Don't know if it's worth it. Yeah, it is worth it. I actually look forward to actually now planning some new projects so we can have a go going forward and see what we can actually do with this machine. Not just running vintage software and games. There's all sorts of different things I want to try. And who knows, we might even get into doing some mod hacking to it. Maybe some modifications, rebuilds, who knows what I might do. I really hope you've enjoyed that. I will be doing follow-up videos on the C64 as I get to grips with what exactly it can do and how we can run it. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's plenty more coming up here on Christmas on Wi-Fi Sheep. So until next time, thanks so much for your company, and bye for now.